Hello everybody! In this guitar lesson I'm going to teach you to play You've Got to Hide Your Love Away by the Beatles. Now I think of this song as coming from the Beatles' middle period. They weren't yet into the sort of studio experimentation that they get into with the Sgt. Pepper album and beyond, but they weren't just a rock and roll band either. They were writing songs that were more introspective, that were more folky in style, that were more acoustic. And that's what makes this song a great one to play on the acoustic guitar. You've Got to Hide Your Love Away was recorded in February 1965 for the Beatles' Help album. And on the recording, John Lennon apparently is playing a 12-string guitar. Certainly sounds like that if you listen closely to the track. And George Harrison was also playing another guitar as well. And obviously there was the bass from Paul McCartney and some percussion going on too. So what I'm going to try and do is boil it down as best I can so you can play it on one single 6-string guitar and it'll sound something like the record did. Let's start by looking at the chords that we need to play the verse. Now these are for the most part familiar chords, but they have unusual fingerings, or sometimes there's slight variations on familiar chords. So let's have a look at them now. So we start with the G. Here I, D sus4, stand to F9, and C, in, back to G, hand. Now we start with a G major. It's this form of G major where your ring finger is fretting the 2nd string, 3rd fret, the note of D. That's the first chord. Now, you'll notice my little finger, as usual with a G, is on the top string, 3rd fret, the note of G. As I move to my second chord, I'm going to leave that little finger where it is. And the second chord is a D4, D sus4. That note of G there on the top string is the 4th note of the D chord, D, E, F, G, hence D sus4. Now I'm going to move to my next chord and watch my little finger. It's going to stay where it is. The next chord is an F9. Still got that top note of G there. It's the 9th note of an F. And finally my last chord is going to be a C major. Again, I'm going to leave my little finger where it is. That G there on the top, on the third fret, top string. That G is part of a C chord, but it's an unusual fingering to put that G on the top there. So if I play through those 4 chords, you'll notice my little finger just stays where it is. Here I stand, head in hand. Back to C. Turn my face to the F9. Wah, back to C. That's the first line. Second line, similar but not quite the same, starts with G again. If she's D sus4 gone, I F9 can't, C go, G on, back to C, feeling 2 foot, and then F9 small, back to C. But to end this line, we're going to go to the D. It's just a regular D major, that one. We repeat all of that again, and then we'll get to the chorus. But before I talk about the chorus, let me tell you about the rhythm of the song. I've done a bit of a survey of some of the sheet music that's available for You've Got to Hide Your Love Away on the internet, and I can tell you that some people think it's in 3/4 time, some people think it's in 6/8 time, some people think it's in 12/8 time. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume it's in 3/4 time, simply because it's easier to explain that way. Now, basically, the rhythm that you want is this. Now I'm playing that with my fingers. You could play it with a pick just as easily. I just prefer the sound of my fingers. Anyway, whether you do it with your fingers or a pick, that's basically down, down, up, down. Now you'll see on the up, because I'm playing with my fingers, I'm using the top of my thumb for that up. The downs, I'm playing with my index finger. You can do it with a pick just as well. Whether you do it with your fingers or with a pick, then on the first down, go for the bass notes, and on for the down, up, down, go for the treble strings. So the timing on that is 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. And that's the basic rhythm that's used for the song. That's the basic strumming pattern. There are some variations, and I'll tell you about those next. The rhythm guitar on You've Gotta Hide Your Love Away was played by John Lennon, who also sang the song. And I think in his music, rhythm is really important. If you think about I'm the Walrus, you know, I am he as you are me, and the rhythm's very, very and you know, think about the guitar break on Get Back, which John Lennon played. Very, very rhythmic. He was a very rhythmic player in a lot of what he did. Apparently had a bit of a sort of wonky sense of tempo, so he could get faster and slower sometimes, but a great sense of rhythm, you know, to do that. Just great. Anyway, as far as You've Got to Hide Your Love Away is concerned, there are some interesting little rhythmic variations in the rhythm guitar part, and I'll show you them now. So the first variation comes halfway through the first line of the verse. Now the G major in that first line and the D sus4, you use the normal strumming pattern for those two chords. Here I stand. But when we get to the F, we're going to play a single downstroke, head, pause, and then we're going to go to the C and play a single downstroke there. In. Then when we get back to the G major, we're back into our normal strumming pattern. Hand. So it's going to sound like this. Here I stand, hand in hand. And the timing on that is 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1, pause, 3, 1, 2 and 3. Now when we get to the second line of the song, If She's Gone, I Can't Go On, there's a variation on the variation. So let's have a look at that. Now in that second line, the first two chords, the G and the D sus4, they use the normal strumming pattern. If she's gone, Then when we get to the F9, this time, instead of one downstroke, we're going to play two downstrokes. Can't, and then on the C, just a single downstroke as before. Go! And again, when we get back to the G, we're back to the normal strumming pattern. So, it's going to sound like this. If she's gone, I can't go on. And if we count that out, it's like this. 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 3. Now that second variation where you play two downstrokes on the F, that I think is used in the rest of the song basically. So he doesn't do a single downstroke on the F for the rest of the song, he always does the double. But have a listen and see what you think. Now the next variation comes at the end of the verse. I hear them say, and it's a little bass rundown on the D major. So let me show you it in context. I hear them say, here it is. Takes you into the chorus. Now before I show you how to play that bass rundown on the D chord, an interesting little digression I think. That bass rundown or similar rundowns, you'll find it in quite a lot of songs. So let me give you one interesting example. A song, another song written in the key of G in 3/4, composed a little bit earlier than You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changing. You better start swimming or you sink like a stone, for the times they are. Very similar rundown. Now that is a bit interesting because Lennon was listening to Dylan at the time when he wrote You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. And Dylan was one of the influences that I suppose caused him to write that song in this rather introspective, acoustic, folky style. So don't know whether he lifted that rundown from the Dylan song. He might not have done. It's a very common one, as I said, but quite an interesting point of comparison all the same. Let me show you how to play it. To play that D rundown, we're going to start on a regular D chord, and we're going to play the 4th string open, which is the bass note of D, and then we're going to do a down up on the top 3 strings, and then play the 4th string open again. Next, we're going to move our middle finger to the note of C, which is on the 5th string 3rd fret, the bass C, and we're going to play that 5th string, down up again, and then 5th string again, and then we're going to move our index finger to the B, which is on the 5th string 2nd fret. Obviously we've got to remove our middle finger from the 5th string. Same pattern again, play the 5th string, down up, and then 5th string again. And then finally we're going to go back to our regular chord of D, and we're going to play 3 downstrokes, focusing on the bass strings with quite a heavy accent on that 5th string again, which is the note of A. Like that. So put that together and we have this. And then we're into the chorus. Now before I show you how to play the chorus, if you're enjoying this video, please do press the like button and also subscribe to the channel, because then you'll be notified of all future videos that I put out. Now let's take a look at the chorus. So the chorus starts on a G. Hey, you've got to, then it goes to a C. Hide your. Now I tend to play this variant of a C, which I think is a C2 or maybe a C9. It's basically a C with a D in it. But you can play a normal C there if you prefer, it's up to you. And then we get to the word away, and then we're going to have 3 different variants on a D chord. Away. And those are D sus4, the regular D, a D2 or a D9, that's a D with an E on the top there, on that top string, back to the regular D. And we just do a normal strumming pattern on each. So put that together and the chorus sounds like this. Hey, you've got to hide your love away. Now if you listen to the Beatles recording of You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, you'll notice that on that chorus there's a second guitar, maybe the bass as well, I'm not quite sure, doubling up on the tune of the chorus. Hey, you've got to hide your love, oh. And then on the word away, way, the syllable way, we run out of notes because it goes down to a D, so I think probably they tuned the bottom E down to a D to play that, but anyway, doesn't matter. Let's look how we can incorporate a bit of that melody line into our playing of the chords. Okay, so this is how I play that chorus, trying to incorporate a bit of the melody on the bass strings as I play it. Hey, you've got to hide your love away. Hey, you've got to hide your love away. Now the whole of that nice little melody on the chorus there is, and then the last note is that D that we can't get to because it's too low. Now I'm going to try and incorporate some of that into the playing of the chords, enough to hint at it, to get people to recognise it. I'm not going to play every note. This is what I do. So starting from that G chord, I'm going to play the 6th string, and then down, up, down, and then 6th string again, 5th string open, 5th string 2nd fret, then we're on to the C chord, play the 5th string again, and then down, up, down, then 6th string 3rd fret, and then 6th string open, and then we're into that nice D chord variation pattern. So we've got this. Hey, you've got to hide your love away. One thing that I didn't mention, but I probably should, is that John Lennon throws in some really nice hammer-ons into his acoustic guitar part on You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. And we call these 2nd fret hammer-ons because they all involve hammering your finger onto the 2nd fret of different strings. So if we think about the line of the song that is feeling 2 foot small, okay, that's a good place to get a grip of these in. So feeling 2 foot small. So there's several different hammer-ons there, but they're all pretty similar actually. If we think about the F9 chord to start with, small, what he's doing there is playing a downstroke. Before he plays that downstroke, he takes his middle finger off of the 3rd string, so the 3rd string is open, plays the downstroke, and then hammers his middle finger onto the 2nd fret of that 3rd string, and then carries on with the strumming pattern. So we have this. When he goes to the C, similar, except we're now on the 4th string, so he's going to take his middle finger off of the 4th string, play the downstroke with the 4th string open, and hammer his middle finger, onto the 2nd fret of the 4th string this time, and then play the rest of the strumming pattern. So we've got small, and then when he gets to the D, here he's going to play one strumming pattern, and on the 2nd strumming pattern on that D, he's going to do a 2nd fret hammer-on. So with that one, he's just taking his index finger off of the 3rd string, playing the downstroke, and hammering that index finger back onto the 2nd fret again, 3rd string. So we've got small. Now there's one more hammer-on which I think I can hear right at the start of the song before the singing starts. There are a couple of bars of G, and I think there's a 2nd fret hammer-on on the 2nd bar of G, right at the start of the song, hammering on to the, I think it's the 4th string 2nd fret. So I think they're doing this. Here I stand. Have a listen. Let me know if you think I'm right in the comments. At the end of the song there's a nice little flute solo, and the notes that the flute is playing I think are more or less these. So it is possible to incorporate that into your chords. Not easy, I'm not sure whether it really works, but it can be done. Let me show you. Now the best I can get that to sound on solo guitar personally is a little bit like this. Now I'm not quite sure whether that really cuts the mustard. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like me to teach you how to play it, let me know that in the comments. And if you can think of a better way to approach the ending of the song, again, let me know in the comments.